I'm Alina and I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I just thought I'd give you some information about lip piercings because I've made the mistake, you could say, of getting a lip piercing because now I've pretty much scarred my face for life because I've had this lip piercing which has been re-pierced twice for the last, I'm 18 now, for about over 3 years now, and it's just a permanent hole in my face. I also had the other side pierced, but it got infected twice, and I really got annoyed with that because, like, I treated it once, it was fine. I got bumped once, and then it reinfected again. I figured, okay, well, maybe the right side of my face is just not worth piercing. I also have my septum pierced, but I don't have it in right now. But I got that one pierced after I'd done these because I knew I could hide it. But with this one, if I just show you, as you can see, it goes red when it's in, but when it does fade down, no amount of concealer seems to hide the hole, like, unless I got a piercing plug. But yeah, but yeah, so I was just thinking, if you're ever thinking of getting a lip piercing, best, like, yeah, you could get away with fake, I suppose, because they look pretty real these days. 1 second. Strip ball. There we go. You can get away with probably a fake piercing, but it doesn't have the same effect as a real one. But also consider your career options because, I mean, I'm about to take a degree in event management, and yeah, there are people who wear piercings in it, but if I work corporate, can't have it. And I have worked one corporate job before, and everyone just knows it's there. Like, when you look at somebody, they're looking straight at your lips, straight at that scar, and they're like, you try not to think about it, but, I mean, you can pass it off as probably a freckle or a pimple or, you know, a mole even, but, yeah. Guys, you probably have it a lot easier because you can grow beards, and I have one mate who, when he has a bit of, you know, the shadow on his face, you can't see his piercing hole, it's gone. But for girls, no, I don't think no amount of shaving will ever achieve that kind of whiskers on their face, and I think it'll look pretty lame. But you can also probably try some concealer to get the redness off it, but I haven't found a product that can actually plug the hole. The only other way I think you could probably completely erase the hole is if you tapered your piercing, which is where you go to the like the salon you got it pierced in. I went to House Warehouse, which is, I think it's an Australian brand. I'm not sure if it's, you know, a worldwide, and they taper piercings for, like, I think it's $10 or something. They taper them, which means they stretch the piercing, especially if your piercing's closed up. It's just they're cutting, like, they're pushing through the dead skin, which means obviously it's going to re-heal itself because it's been, you know, your skin's been, you know, you've made your skin angry. And so basically, yeah, it'll re-heal, and most likely it'll probably close back up, like, and then have a little white dot, because obviously your skin's going to knit itself together, but because you've got the piercing in there, it's knitting around the piercing. The only other way is if you can get away with a clear bar, or you let them know before you start. I mean, I've seen a lot of fast food chains, the employees are wearing piercings now in their face. When I worked a couple of years ago at McDonald's, no such rule. I could only wear it if I had, like, a young manager who had one themselves. But no, my bosses wouldn't let me. Currently now I work at Woolworths, which I suppose for you Americans is kind of like your Walmart, I think, if that's like your big food shopping centre. Yeah, and I work in the deli, so no piercings. So, and then I'm about to start uni, and there's no piercings there. So everywhere I go, there seems to be no facial piercings, no facial piercings. But I have noticed lately, I don't know about the rest of the world, but lately people are being a lot more inclined to let it slip. Like, people have got tongue piercings now. They're getting away with it because you can't say, I don't have one, but unless you know that person's got the piercing, that's when you see it. But if you don't know, there can be really good ways of hiding it. Also, you can definitely notice eyebrow scars. Like, I mean, I can only look at myself for 2 seconds and know whether or not they had an eyebrow piercing because, like, I don't have one, but they've always got that line. Like, I don't know, it's just like as if the hair stopped growing there. But, yeah, so if you're thinking of getting a piercing, I would really, really, really consider it. Like, I did consider it. I did take a couple months because I wasn't 16 at the time. I don't know about the rest of the world when you can get your piercings, but in Australia at Hair House, it's 16. Or 15 with the adult, like with your parent. But you must have ID, so yeah. And I considered it, watched the 1,000 videos. I thought, okay, yeah, I'm getting one. But there's like no videos on YouTube that really, really, really tell you the after effects. Like, you get the people who say, oh, this is how you care for it, this is how you get it done, or this is how you pierce it yourself, or whatever. But you don't ever get, like, I mean, yeah, maybe there's probably 1 or 2 videos out there that people are like, okay, yeah, this is the rub, this is what happens after you get it, because no one bothers to think of the after effects, like the scarring. It's there. I mean, my mother keeps telling me, oh, now you got a freaking scar on your face. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they're like, it'll be with you for the rest of your life. And I'm cool with that. I mean, people nowadays, they don't really care. I mean, they always ask, like, people don't really even bother asking me where's my piercing. They just know that I've had it. It's just not in today. And it's weird because I can take my piercing out. I mean, I just put it in today, and I've had it out for probably, no joke, 2 months. It goes straight through because there's just this hole of where it is. The amount of scar tissue that I've abused on this side of the lip, it's got 2 holes inside. One's a hole outside, so I've basically just completely ruined that piece of skin, and I don't think it'll ever heal unless I cut it open and then stitch it back together. It'll be probably the only way I'll ever get it fixed, but I don't have the thousands of plastic surgery to do that. So if you're thinking of getting a piercing, think it twice. Maybe even think of ones that you can hide, like your septum piercing, maybe an eyebrow underneath your fringe if you've got one, or belly button piercing, which I have. That gets scarred pretty badly too, if you don't care for it, or somewhere that people don't mind you've got it. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. I will definitely look out for different ways to, get rid of the scarring, but the best I can think of is you've probably got a tattoo concealer, because tattoos, obviously, they're hardest to conceal because it's not skin, and because most piercings usually have a redness around it. I think tattoo concealer is a bit thicker, so it could probably plug that hole temporarily while you put your foundation over it. But they cost like, Australian dollars, probably about $25 to $30. I don't know what the rest of the world is like, but yeah, you're probably looking at about $30 to $50 for a really good tattoo concealer. I know there's one by Kat Von D. I've heard some bad reviews about it, but I don't know, I haven't used it. But yeah, so I will keep you informed. Okay, bye YouTube.